Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jeff with the Collector Car Network. That's AutoHunter.com, ClassicCars.com, and The Journal. And today we are here with Barrrett-Jackson at the 2022 Las Vegas auctions. And this time I'm going to be talking to you about this absolutely beautiful car behind me. This is a 1992 Nissan Skyline GTR. Now, this is probably one of my most favorite cars on the planet. And it's great whenever I get to see them like this, especially in the GTR form. Now, these cars were recently legalized under the 25-year federal rule, and these cars were not sold in the US, so that means this car was actually going to be right-hand drive. Now, this car does have the engine bay open, and this powertrain is perhaps one of the most important things about this car in general, because this powertrain not only managed to let this car dominate the Japanese Touring Car Championship, but it would also be used in the later generations of GTR. The RB26 would be used in the R33 and R34 generations of the Skyline GTR. So, what makes this engine so special? So for the Japanese Touring Car Championship, 2.6 liters was the exact displacement that Nissan decided would be best in order to dominate the championship. Dominated it so much so that the car would win the Japanese Touring Car Championship several years for the entire series outright, including winning all 29 races that the car competed in, which is absolutely insane. This car is nothing short of a homologation car. And it's just an absolutely incredible car with all-wheel drive and all-wheel steering coming from this 6-cylinder up here in the front. Now, this car does this, for those of you that don't know, the RB series, this RB26 DETT is a twin-turbo 6-cylinder, which will go ahead and provide power to all of the wheels for the car. Now, what makes this car special, the R32 GTR was produced in a good number of cars. This car in particular is Spark Silver, which means it's one of 5,161 cars in this color. Over half of all R32 GTRs were actually produced in the dark gray color. This car is also a manual, which is also very important. If you go ahead and take a look at the side here, you'll notice some of the extra race car aero bits where the car was homologated for Group A racing, and including this car does have the factory wheels, which can be hard to find sometimes, and the Nismo cars and versions can be even harder to find for some of the various versions. As we go through here, you'll see the GT badge, which this is pretty common for a lot of the Skyline cars. You'll even see it on some of the cars like the GTSTs and whatnot. We, of course, have some different side badging and things like that that'll denote that this car is, in fact, a GTR and not one of the other versions of the car, including this wing. None of the other four-door versions or the GTSTs will have this wing either. So just more information denoting that this car is, in fact, a GTR. If you want to come around this way so we can take a look at the steering wheel on the right side of the car, and we can take a look at that awesome manual transmission. Take a look in the door here. You can go ahead and see the manual transmission and the right-hand drive, and just how cool this car is, being a blast from the 1990s to some JDM culture, including some nice bucket seats. And then if we go ahead and come to the back of the car, you can see what is essentially almost starting the typical GTR taillight display, including the GTR badge, denoting that this is in fact the RB26 DETT car that would dominate the Japanese Touring Car Championship, and what would become known as the famous GTR headlamps, and of course, an exhaust. Now, this car does have a few upgrades as well, including some HKS Hypermax coilovers in this car, and then one of my favorite parts, this nice little wide body fender here, so you can make sure you can fit all the meats in there. And of course, I think it's pretty fitting that this car would have some parts from HKS, because HKS would also be one of the many companies which would go on to race these cars that would then dominate the championship. So that is a look at this awesome Spark Silver R32 generation Nissan GTR. So if you guys like that video, if you go ahead and hit that like button, we'd really appreciate it. If you want to go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this in the future. And of course, I will see you guys next time.